Okay, so Pepsi has just released a commercial for a new brand of premium water that is just filled with Illuminati symbolism, just way too much Illuminati symbolism. It's obvious that they want us to see it. They want us to look at it. They've clearly pledged their allegiance to the globalist plan to take over the water supply, but this is not hidden Illuminati symbolism. This is in your face, look here. It reminds me of a trick that magicians do as a way to divert the thought attention of their audience so that they can do whatever they want without their audience seeing it. I'll tell you about that in a second. I'm going to show you the video and then tell you about the magician thing. And then I'm going to ask you a question. I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Let's take a look at the video or the commercial. All right, the dad's not paying attention. The daughter picks up the weird mutating flower. The rainbow starts raining down from the sky, which would terrify most people. An eyeball appears on the concrete as they run up the stairs, and that appears to be like right here. What is this, like an alien face right here? You see that? It's like two more eyeballs. Now we've seen the eyeball once. There it is the second time on the building. This time it's surrounded by the sixes, the 666 symbol or the AOK symbol. I'm not one of those people who anytime somebody flashes the AOK symbol who says, oh, that's an Illuminati thing. I think just people just use it sometimes. But in this case, this seems like a pretty blatant symbolic representation. It's a little bit too blatant in my opinion. There's a third eyeball. Did you catch that one? That was the second one. There's the third time we see it. There's the fourth time we see it. And right there in the back, up in the sky, watching down, two more eyeballs. The artwork on the product is the 666 symbol with an eyeball in the middle of it. Okay, first of all, this guy's a terrible father. Just walking across the street, texting while his daughter wanders around the middle of the road. Could be a truck bearing down on him. He'd never see it. Second of all, if rainbow-colored rain starts coming down from the sky and eyeballs start appearing on roads and buildings, you get the fuck inside. You don't have to be a conspiranoid to know that there was blatant symbolism in that commercial. Eyeballs everywhere, the rainbow colors, the 666 symbol. The rainbow colors are not just an LGBT thing. They've been associated with a cult for a long time. So it's clear they wanted people to look at those symbols. So with calling our attention to these Illuminati symbols, what are they trying to get us not to look at? This reminds me of a psychological effect that magicians routinely exploit as a way to manipulate their audience members. It's called the Einstilling effect. The Einstilling effect it's a limit to creative thinking. When confronted with a problem, the presence of a familiar idea prevents the discovery of an alternative solution. When a familiar solution suffices to solve a problem, even when you've only been exposed to one time, it's difficult to stop thinking about that solution and discover alternative solutions to that problem. Everybody has predisposed ideas to what Illuminati symbols mean and why they're in commercials or wherever they are. When we see those, we react almost automatically with those solutions. That prevents us from discovering other possibilities. When people know that this is the way that we think, that this causes this reaction, they can intentionally put these symbols out there, diverting our attention to them, bringing up those thoughts that are associated with them, and then diverting our attention away from where they don't want us to look and think. This effect has been studied for decades. In one particular experiment, they took a magician who had an audience and he called up an audience member. He lays down 6 cards face down. He writes on the back of a piece of paper the card that he says the participant is going to turn over, and he puts that piece of paper down on the table. Now, while all this is going on, he is priming the audience member by saying, magicians have the power to subtly influence your actions through physical suggestions. That is the key variable right there. That shuts off the audience member's thinking. In the other experiment, they did the same thing without that key variable. They did not tell the audience member that magicians have the power to subtly influence. So the key variable is implanting that solution or that reason into the mind of the audience, thus shutting them off and effectively making them blind from other alternatives. In both experiments, the audience member selected a card from the table, turned that card over. It was a Jack of Hearts. The piece of paper was then turned over, and it was revealed to also be the Jack of Hearts. In the experiment where the audience was primed with a suggestion that magicians can subtly influence through physical suggestion, when asked after the trick was over what was the secret to the trick, 80% of the audience members could not come up with the right answer. Then after that, when they were prompted to come up with another solution, 80% of them could not even come up with another solution. It was actually 83%. And the other experiment, after the trick was over, they were asked the same question. What's the secret to the trick? Now remember, this group was not primed with the suggestion that the magician is subtly influencing them through physical suggestion. The trick was just done, and then they were asked, what's the secret to the trick? 80% of them got it correct. The determining factor, according to this study and according to decades of research, was that putting a solution in the mind of the audience, focus their attention on that solution, away from others, making them effectively blind to alternative possibilities, allowing the magician to freely manipulate them without them being aware of it. How was the trick done? All the cards on the table were the Jack of Hearts. It didn't matter which card they picked. The study concludes by raising an important question. They say, if a complete stranger, a magician, can fix spectators' minds by convincing them that he or she can control their individual choice with his own gesture, to what extent can an authority figure, a policeman, or someone that we trust, a doctor or a politician, fix our mind with unsuitable ideas? With that, I pose a question to you. Our brains have limitations, and these elites understand those limitations. They've been spending billions of dollars on studying them for well over 100 years. This water commercial, was filled with these symbols, and they were obviously blatant, trying to get us to look at them and think about them and talk about them, which means we're not looking at, thinking about, and talking about something else, which blinds us to those things and enables them to operate in those blind spots, furthering whatever agenda that they're trying to further. So I ask you this, what solutions, what alternative possibilities are we overlooking, and how do they connect to the big picture agenda of the global elites?